There's always been a link between British docks and Japanese cars. Before the 1960s, many of the cars on Japan's roads were dispatched from Britain's docks. The trickle of Japanese cars came back into those self-same docks in the 1960s to chuckles of derision from the British motor industry. But soon the trickle became a flood, and the British were forced to ask for a temporary gentleman's agreement limiting imports. It certainly saved the bacon of the British motor industry. Well, now the wheel has come to full circle, and once again there's lines of Japanese cars at the ports. But this time they're not awaiting customs clearance for entry to Britain. They're built in Britain and they're waiting for export to Europe. In December, the Toyota factory in Derbyshire came on stream with this car, which is the latest to join those lines at the dockside. It's the Carina E. E for excellence in Europe, they tell us, and exports will take 60% of production. The car features the familiar oily, smooth, flowing lines exhibited by most of the new crop of Japanese cars. Carina comes as a 5-door hatchback or as a 4-door saloon. They're both significantly bigger than the old model, not only longer and slightly wider, but also significantly higher, and that's good news for headroom. They paid a great deal of attention to airflow over the car and the way the panels meet. The result is a good CD figure and little wind noise at speed. Under the anonymous skin, there's some interesting technical stories. Now you can choose from a range of 1.6 or 2-litre petrol engines. There's also a 2-litre diesel unit. But the most interesting engine is the 1.6 petrol fitted to the manual car. Now Toyota describe it as one of the most advanced engines in the world. But aside from the specification, twin overhead camshafts, 16 valves, fuel injection, one's exotic, but today almost commonplace. It's notable for being a lean burn unit. Now, when the industry was stampeded into fitting catalysts to clean up the exhaust systems, many of the engineers argued that they were being forced down the wrong road by the legislators. A catalyzed engine uses more petrol and it emits more CO2 into the atmosphere. That's the greenhouse gas. Now, they argued that lean burn was a much better way to go. If you use less fuel, then you emit less CO2 and you put out fewer emissions. Trouble is, it's very difficult to get an engine to run smoothly when, in effect, you're starving it of fuel. Now, Toyota say they've cracked the problem by the use of sophisticated sensors and engine management systems. Up to 87 miles an hour on light to medium throttle, this unit runs as a lean burn engine, giving 10% better economy than a conventional engine. When you go over 87 or demand maximum power, it becomes a normal injected engine with a catalyst cleaning up the exhaust. Inside, it's pretty austere with a nasty shiny black plastic top to the dashboard that can reflect in the windscreen. It really wouldn't be a Japanese car without a superb RDS radio cassette stereo unit and a high level of equipment: power steering, power windows, mirrors, headlamp adjustment, and of course central locking. There's certainly more room in the car than the old model, but despite height and lumbar support adjustment on the driver's seat, it's quite uncomfortable over long distances. The rear seat passengers get more knee and foot space, the seat has a split fold, and it can be locked in position from the boot for better security. It's certainly a clinically efficient car. It handles and rides well, and it shows safe and secure road-holding qualities. Just it doesn't have a lot of soul. In their desire to make it completely acceptable to European markets and to the fleet operators, they seem to have ironed out individuality. Against its declared target cars of the Mondeo and the Cavalier, the Carina equipped itself well. Performance figures for this 1.6 in particular are impressive against the competition. At the end of the day, of course, the big question is, can the British screw these cars together with the same degree of quality and reliability as their Japanese counterparts? Well, Nissan's experience in Sunderland certainly suggests that the answer to that question is an emphatic yes.